Welcome to Adu Globe. Discover new ideas, learn exciting things, and be amazed every day. The world can change in a single moment, when headlines scream that Russia has attacked America. But is this really the truth, or just a game of words? Missiles and drones rained down on the skies of Ukraine. The ground shook with thunderous blasts, and an American-owned factory came under direct fire. But the real question is, was this attack inside America, or is the truth something else? Inside the factory, workers were busy with their daily routines, until sudden explosions turned everything into smoke and rubble. The injured, the terrified, the helpless, this was more than just an attack on a factory, it was a message to the world. So, was this strike only against Ukraine? Or was it a dangerous warning aimed straight at America itself? Today, we uncover the hidden truths that the headlines never revealed. August 21, 2025. A shocking development shakes the world today. Russia has launched one of its largest attacks yet on Ukraine, unleashing 574 drones and 40 missiles in a single strike. But what makes this story different is not just the scale, it's the target. The attack hit the western Ukrainian city of Mukachevo. And the chosen target, a factory owned by the American company Flex Limited, known for producing vital electronics. This raises a chilling question. Was this simply another strike in the war, or a direct challenge to American influence inside Ukraine? The consequences were devastating. At least 19 people were injured, and in Lviv, one confirmed death has been reported. Emergency services rushed to the scene. Ambulances, flashing lights, and terrified residents painted a picture of fear and uncertainty. For the people living through this night, the sound of sirens and explosions will never be forgotten. Across the globe, leaders are asking, what message was Russia sending? Is this a sign of escalation? Or is it a warning that the conflict is entering a far more dangerous stage? The involvement of an American-owned facility adds an entirely new layer of complexity. The world is watching, waiting, and speculating what comes next. This event leaves us with a haunting question. Is the war in Ukraine crossing into a new, unpredictable phase? The answers are unclear, but one thing is certain, the eyes of the world are now fixed on what happens next. News headlines around the world flashed one shocking line: Russia attacks US factory. For millions of people, this instantly raised fear. Did Russia just strike inside America? Was the war crossing borders? The choice of words created panic, curiosity, and confusion at the same time. But here is the truth. The attack did not happen on American soil. It happened in Mukachevo, Ukraine. The factory targeted belongs to an American company, Flex Limited, but it was located in Ukraine, not the United States. The difference is critical, yet headlines blurred the lines, leaving audiences with half-truths. While headlines played with words, the people in Ukraine faced the reality. 574 drones and 40 missiles were launched. At least 19 people were injured, and in nearby Lviv, one person lost their life. For families on the ground, this was not a headline game, it was fear, destruction, and loss. So why did media outlets phrase it this way? Was it a mistake, or a deliberate attempt to highlight Russia's message? Perhaps Moscow wanted the world to think, even American interests are not safe. Or maybe, it was a reminder that the war is no longer just about territory, but about influence, perception, and global signals. And so we are left with a haunting question. Were these headlines just clickbait, or a warning of something much larger? The line between fact and perception is thin. And sometimes, in that thin space, entire conflicts can change. Flex Limited is an American multinational company, headquartered in Texas, USA. It is one of the world's largest electronics manufacturers, building components for major global brands. From smartphones to automotive parts, Flex has a silent but powerful role in modern technology. Its presence in more than 30 countries makes it not just a company, but a backbone of the global supply chain. But why did Flex open a factory in Mukachevo, Ukraine? The answer is strategy. Ukraine is geographically close to Europe's big markets, and labor costs are lower than in Western countries. For Flex, it was the perfect balance of efficiency and access. The Mukachevo facility became a crucial hub for producing electronics, serving both European and global clients. On the night of the 21st of August 2025, silence was broken by sirens. Russia launched 574 drones and 40 missiles. Among the targets, the Flex factory. The building shook, windows shattered, machines collapsed. Workers who had just finished their shifts ran for cover. In a moment, a place of technology turned into a scene of fear and survival. Inside, ordinary employees, men and women, faced chaos. Some were trapped under debris, others injured by flying glass. Reports confirmed at least 19 people were wounded. For their families, this was more than news, it was a nightmare. Imagine working for a better future, only to face war in your workplace. This is the hidden human cost, far beyond numbers and headlines. And so, a bigger question emerges. Was this attack only about destroying a factory, or was it a message to America that even its companies are not safe abroad? The Flex factory, once a symbol of global trade, suddenly became a reminder of how war reaches far beyond borders. After the attack, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky made a powerful statement. This is not just an attack on Ukraine. This is an attack on America itself. His words were not casual, they carried weight. By targeting an American-owned factory inside Ukraine, Zelensky framed the attack as something larger than just war on Ukrainian soil. It was a way to call Washington's attention, and perhaps, to push the United States into deeper involvement. Yet, the reaction from Washington was strangely quiet. Some U.S. officials expressed concern, but there was no immediate, fiery response. Was this silence a sign of behind-the-scenes strategy, or hesitation to escalate against Moscow? For ordinary people watching, it created suspense. Was America angry, or simply calculating its next move? Inside the U.S., the Trump administration faced pressure. Critics asked, was America prepared for its companies to become targets abroad? Trump officials made strong remarks condemning Russia, but at the same time, they knew, every word could either calm the situation, or ignite a fire. Balancing diplomacy with strength became the biggest challenge. And then, another question emerged. Why now? The attack happened just as whispers of peace talks were surfacing in Europe. Was Moscow sending a message that negotiations would not be on Ukraine's terms? Or was this a move to sabotage the very idea of peace? The mystery deepens, leaving the world to wonder, is this war about territory, or about power plays in diplomacy? In the end, the attack was not only about missiles and drones. It opened a diplomatic puzzle, where every statement, every silence, every negotiation has hidden meaning. For Ukraine, it was survival. For America, it was credibility. And for Russia, it was strategy. The world is left asking, was this a strike on a factory, or a move on the chessboard of global power? After the attack on the American-owned factory, NATO and European nations could not stay silent. Emergency meetings were reported in Brussels, where leaders questioned, if American companies in Europe are not safe, then who is next? For countries bordering Ukraine, the fear was real. What if the fire spreads beyond Ukrainian territory? Analysts began to read between the lines. By striking Flex Limited, a U.S. company, Russia may have been sending a secret warning. Your investments, your assets, your factories, none are safe here. It wasn't just about damaging machines, it was about planting fear into the very idea of American presence in Eastern Europe. The bigger question now, what if Russia repeats this strategy? Imagine multiple US-linked factories in Ukraine or Eastern Europe being targeted. Supply chains would collapse, global investors might pull out, European economies could shake, and in Washington, pressure would rise to take stronger, perhaps riskier, steps against Moscow. This leads to the most chilling question. Is this the beginning of a new Cold War? Not the Cold War of tanks and nuclear missiles, but one of factories, investments, and hidden warnings. Instead of just soldiers on the front lines, it's corporations, workers, and economies in the crossfire. A war fought not only on battlefields, but on balance sheets and trust. For the ordinary viewer, the real mystery remains. Is Russia testing the limits, sending warnings step by step? Or is this a bigger plan to reshape how America and Europe operate in the East? The silence of some leaders, the sharp words of others, and the uncertainty in markets all point to one fact. This isn't just about Ukraine anymore. The ripples are global. Russia did not strike inside the United States. Instead, it targeted a US-owned Flex Limited factory in Mukachevo, Ukraine. The headlines made it sound like an attack on American soil, but the reality is different. Still, the symbolism was powerful. It showed that even global companies are not safe in a war zone. Beyond politics and strategies, the real pain lies with the workers. At least 19 people were injured, and one person lost their life in Lviv. Ordinary men and women, who came to work just like any other day, suddenly found themselves in the middle of fire and chaos. Their families are left shaken, their futures uncertain. This is the silent tragedy hidden behind every breaking news alert. And now comes the haunting question. Was this just an attack on one factory? Or is it a warning of something much bigger to come? A storm slowly rising that could pull not just Ukraine, but the entire world into deeper conflict. These unanswered questions hang heavy, leaving everyone guessing. The world watches, but the story is not over. This is more than news. It is a puzzle of war, politics, and human survival. Right finger, what do you think? Was this strike only about Ukraine, or is it a signal to the entire world? Share your thoughts in the comments, because sometimes the most powerful answers come from ordinary voices like yours.